every rejection I had, I was able to learn from it. Every failure I had, I was able to grow from it. Hey guys, it's your girl Nancy Olu Abam, and welcome back to Sit with Nancy, where we dive deep into personal growth and strategies for living our best life. And that's on period. Okay, guys, today we are going to be discussing how the devil tried to get in my head and the tactics I used to detect it and the strategies I used to counter it. So, a while back, I was feeling really overwhelmed and challenged with negative thoughts and emotions, and it was like a constant battle in my head. Then I knew that it was a strategy for the devil to destabilize me, to get in my mind. It was constantly telling me things like I would never get a good job. It even tried to body shame me. I'm already big, so I should just continue eating because at the time I was stress eating, I was stressed out. It also tried to come for my show, Sit with Nancy. Oh God, it tried to come for my passion, my dream. Told me that, oh, I don't have time for it. I'm too lazy. I might as well give up now. Me. Hey. It wasn't easy, which came with a lot of inconsistencies with shooting Sit with Nancy at the time. There was a lot of back and forth in my head. But there were a few tactics that I used to detect that, and I'm going to be discussing that and the strategies I used to counter all those negative thoughts in my head. So there was a time when I was seriously searching for a job. And at the time, I was working in hospitality as a waitress. I was also doing a bit of mental support work and personal care, which were my part-time jobs when I was doing my MBA program in project management. But these were good jobs. The people were great. The places were great. In fact, I had so much fun, especially in my waitressing job in hospitality. It was amazing. I loved everyone there. I still love them. But it's just not a career path for me. And it's not something I see myself doing long term. So I was actively searching for a job. And mind you, I'm aware that it's not very easy to find a job. I know that people are constantly getting loads of rejections. I constantly got a lot of rejections. But this testimony is not particularly about the rejections, but how I got my job and the kind of job I got. So at the time, there were periods where I would get to the final stage of an interview. Like, I've gone through 5 different stages of this interview, and then I'm told, unfortunately, we regret to inform you, and then I'm rejected. I didn't get the job. There were different opportunities where I felt like I had it, but then I didn't have it. But then this job that I got as a project manager, I wasn't even looking, which is the amazing thing about God. And because the Bible says the blessings of the Lord maketh rich and addeth no sorrow. So the things that God is going to bless you with, they're not going to stress you. They're not going to stress you, trust me. So at the time when I was constantly going for interviews, every rejection I had, I was able to learn from it. Every failure I had, I was able to grow from it. I would go back, and then for every question that I failed, I would learn from it. I would go back to reading, continuous learning. At the time, I'm so grateful for my husband. He has a PhD in engineering, so he's constantly studying something. So I was able to follow him, and I was always reading and practicing that. When the right job came my way, I was just perfect for the position. I knew how to execute it. Even at the time, or even now in the job, I'm constantly like a solution, which is my prayer, to be a solution to problems. So at the time, I was getting depressed because I was getting tired of doing a job which was physically stressful sometimes and mentally stressful at the same time. The project management job I got, I wasn't even looking for it. I mean, it sort of just landed on my laps. And it didn't just land on my laps, it landed with the right terms, the right situations. Everything just seemed perfect about the job. But I know that I can still grow and I'm still getting better. And this is just a starting point. But this is just talking about times when you're in your lowest state and the devil is trying to tell you that you cannot do this or you cannot do that. That's the moment where you should grow. So at the time, one of the tactics I was able to use to discover this is doubt and fear. At the time, the devil was constantly putting doubt in my mind, making me scared. And the thing about fear is the fact that people will constantly confirm that for you. So it was me telling myself that I couldn't do it. It's too difficult. I'm scared. I can't handle it. That's one of the things you should watch out for: doubt and fear. Secondly, temptations. So, when you're going through a low phase in your life, you know, you feel like I'm already down, I'm already low. How low can I get? So, at the time, I was almost forced to go into bad habits, previous dead bad habits. Maybe I'll discuss this in the future. Going back into a position where it took you so long to drag yourself out of. That's the temptation from the devil, but I was able to fight it and I'm still fighting it. Thirdly, the devil was trying to bring deception into my life. That is using people to bring bad news to me. Try to avoid it. But even if you are in a phase where you can't help it, try to reject it. Because why? I don't understand. Does the devil not understand the kind of grace you carry? Do they know who you are? Child of grace. Don't they know that you're a royal priesthood? You are joint heirs with Christ, and there is no condemnation in the land. And no matter what situation no matter what seems barren in your life, it cannot be you. It can never be you, because we have the mind of Christ. Do you understand? So at the time, I kept rejecting every bad news that was coming my way from friends or from family, or even if it was a bad dream, I would reject it. That's deception from the devil. Another thing I really went through was guilt and shame. The devil constantly kept trying to remind me of my past. I was sort of having that imposter syndrome. When you've been praying for something and you're sitting in your blessings, and then it seems like it's too good to be true, like it's a dream, you should wake up from the dream. That's what the devil tried to do to me. He kept telling me that it cannot be you. Wake up. You cannot have such an amazing life. And this is me trying to build such an amazing life for myself, because I'm going to have this amazing life that I'm building for myself. So all these were tactics. And another thing is conflict. At the point, I found myself having issues with my husband, having issues with my friends, having issues with some family members. It's almost like every single thing was a little trigger. You just say anything, now you collect. That kind of a situation. But then there's something my pastor used to say, that is soft tone turns away wrath or turns away conflict, something like that. So I was trying to instill that in myself, that every single time I spoke to people, I was trying to speak with a softer tone. I was trying to reason with them, sweet talk them, as opposed to being harsh and aggressive and violent towards all these situations. So that was something that I tried to work on. But then what else did I do? One of the strategies I used to counter the devil in this case was me constantly praying and keeping up my faith. My faith is something that I would say is still growing, because it's a journey for me. But then prayer to me has become such a key in my life. It's so important to me because it reminds me of God's promises for my life, right? I wake up in the morning, I can't even press my phone until I say a word of prayer. Do you understand? The moment something happens to me, the first thing I'm doing is praying about it before telling anybody about it. Because I know that prayer truly, truly is the key. It sort of unlocks the spiritual blessings that God has given me into my reality of today. So for me, I would say prayer, it's going to build your faith and it's going to start acting. When your faith is building, you start walking and behaving and moving as if you are living in your blessings, because you're going to get that job, you're going to be reading and acting as if you're a project manager. So another thing I was constantly doing was self-affirmations, positive affirmations. I was also listening to my audio Bibles, because sometimes I might not have the time to physically sit down and read my physical Bible. So I always use my audio Bibles on my way to work, or when I'm just cooking or cleaning or something else. I really, really love Pastor Mildred Okonkwo and Pastor Stephanie Ike. Those are the two people I always listen to on YouTube. So it just constantly reminds me of the grace that I carry. Do you understand? And it constantly reminds me that I'm not alone, that I can do it. And again, I'm still trying to live a healthy lifestyle. I'm trying to eat better, because I feel like if you feel right, you will act right. If you feel beautiful, you act beautiful. So that is me trying to live in my futuristic goals and plans. So looking back, I see that these tactics were attempts to pull me away from my true path. But through prayers, through self-affirmations, positive affirmations, and living a healthy lifestyle, I was able to find my way back. Guys, if you're feeling these similar struggles, I want to tell you that you're not alone. If it is something that I am still trying to overcome, or I have overcome some of it, trust me, you can do it. You're not alone. Reach out, stay connected, and I really hope and pray you have the strength to fight any of these, issues or any of these struggles that you're constantly facing. So, guys, thank you so much for sitting with Nancy. Please do not forget to like, share, and subscribe. And please get in my comment section. Tell me the different tricks and the different attempts from the devil that got to you, but you were able to kabash it out of your life. And I really hope you're going to try to practice these different strategies that help counter the negative thoughts that were going through my head. Thank you so much for sitting with Nancy, and see you next week. Bye.